And hello again. In case you didn't know, that is the magnificent, hold on a second while this guy roller skates on by. Look at him go, look at him, watch him. If it's possible to moonwalk forward instead of moonwalking in reverse, which is the way one normally moonwalks, this guy is doing it here. I think he, well, it's Portland, maybe it's Tanya Harding's big brother or something like that, practicing out his triple salchow and his kneecap crunch or whatever it is the Harding family does these days. But this is the livery of CP Air, which is the former airline subsidiary of Canadian Pacific Railroad, which of course doesn't exist anymore. But CP Air, and I don't know if I have my Canadian airline history right, I think became Canadian, and Canadian, of course, was absorbed into Air Canada. But a long, long time ago, back when I was a whippersnapper, I took a great CP Air flight from Vancouver, or as Frugal would call it, Charlie Yankee Victor Romeo, and again, the gratuitous fun-making at Frugal's expense for simply stating correctly the ICAO, or as we call it, the India Charlie Alpha Oscar. I was about to say, what is Oscar, designator of the airport, but then again, I live to make fun of people for silly, gratuitous, and stupid things, I guess. But I flew it from Vancouver down to San Francisco. It was a great flight. It was not a 737-300 Classic, as this one is, of course, from IXEG. It was a 737-200 pre-Classic, I suppose you'd call it. And it was a magnificent flight with an unbelievably good arrival that came in over the Golden Gate Bridge and then back, and then instead of, which is as normally the case, coming in on the 2.8s, it came in on the 19s, which meant that sitting as I was in the right-hand window seat right about there, I had this unbelievably beautiful view of the Oakland Bay Bridge and the city of San Francisco as we came thundering down to KSFO, or as Frugal would call it, Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar. All right, I've had my fun. It's kind of stupid. I've had my fun at the roller skater's expense, at Frugal's expense. For all I know, it's CP's expense. The reason why we are in this particular livery right here, as you hear our APU whistling away here, just get on the flight deck, is we are going from here to Castlegar, nestled in the Canadian Rockies. We're going to fly up across Seattle, and essentially then we're going to jump onto a route that is normally used from Vancouver to Castlegar, but we're going to do it in a manifestly unsuitable airplane. The flight to Castlegar is usually done in a Dash 8 of some sort. The runway's not unbelievably short. It is just get rid of Dasby here. It's a 6,300-foot runway, but as you can see from the arrival here, it is nestled. I guess that's a polite way of saying it is stuck in the middle of two river valleys, the Kootenai River and the Columbia River, the mighty Columbia River, which loops around and around and around and around and up and down, and finally ends up actually coming out not far from where we are. As a matter of fact, why am I saying not far from where we are? The Columbia River, which we are going to overfly, happens to be right here. And if we just go up a spell here, this is Mr. X6's magnificent KPDX. That over there is the Willamette River, and this is the Columbia. And if we look upstream a little bit, you can see the Columbia River Gorge here. It is gorge as in gorgeous. We're gonna depart off of runway 28 right, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that is 10 left, and pardon me for making you sick. If you look at the windsock right over there, you'll see that I guess the wind is about 5 or 6 knots right there, out of the east-southeast, so hence our direction of flight. We're going to depart on the Portland 1 departure, which is basically climbing in vectors, and we're going to assume we'll get vectored directly to Seattle, VOR, and then from there we're going to head up on an airway and get off at Emido, and then onto another airway, get off at Anger, and then Tykes is the beginning of this arrival. And the arrival is actually going to lead us down onto runway 15, but because of the wind direction, we really want to be on runway 33, so we will break off the arrival here at Ipvov, and we will circle around this away, head out to about this away, and then nestle our way on the inside of this strip here. Let me just show you what the approach is going to look like. And while we're at it, let's just kill that. I'm still struggling with my sound mixer settings because, of course, in its mischievous ways, the lovely and talented Windows 10 managed to install a new set of drivers and a new set of defaults and deleted my old defaults, and basically turned around and let's see, what's the technical term for it? Keistered me. Yes, indeed, it keistered me. That's what it did. It did it, and it didn't even buy me dinner first. So anyway, we're going to take off from here. Portland at the airport, which is right here along the Columbia River. Portland, of course, is nestled right here at the confluence of the Columbia and the Willamette River. We're going to head out towards this way, and this is absolutely some of the most beautiful country on Earth. It includes waterfalls, mountain gorges, deep near rainforests, desert country. It's just all of it. This, by the way, is not the Dalles or the Dallas, but apparently it's the Dales, I think, if not the Dells. But this is the Deschutes River, and this is the Hood River, and some of them, if you recall, I believe, Windows named some versions of Windows after some of the rivers and mountains around here. If not, Intel named some of its processors. Yeah, I think it's Intel, but anyway, or Indio, November, Tango, Echo, Lima as, oh God, another cheap frugal joke. Getting old, I know. Kennewick, where the famous Kennewick Man was dug up. And, of course, out in the desert area of the Columbia River is Hanford, Washington, which is where the nation's first the first industrial nuclear reactors were built, and they were built to make plutonium. As a matter of fact, the Hanford Washington High School football team, I am not kidding you, a college friend of mine went to that high school. There's the Grand Coulee Dam. The football team was named the Hanford Bombers, and their helmets, I am not kidding you, again, had, let's see if we can find it, had a mushroom cloud on it. Very classy. Don't know if it still does, but let's just see. Image, Hanford, well, oh, Jesus. Yes, the Richland High School, which is in Hanford. I shouldn't be laughing at this. This is horrific. But yes, Richland High School in Hanford, Washington, home of, ladies and gentlemen, the Bombers. Or if you look at, oh God, this is hideous. The high school basketball court, gym, insignia, ladies and gentlemen, and right here, the Bombers. And of course, there is an atom bomb, and there, of course, is the helmets with the mushroom clouds on it. On behalf of the United States and the world, I apologize to all of humanity. This, of course, is Fat Man, the first bomb made with plutonium from Hanford's nuclear reactors. It became known later in the U.S. inventory as the Mark IV, which was a slightly improved version of the Hanford fueled plutonium bomb. Called Fat Man because, unlike Little Boy, which used a long converted gun to fire a piece of subcritical uranium into another piece of subcritical uranium to make a critical mass and therefore explode, Fat Man was made with plutonium, which had a lot more fast neutron reactions, and if you tried to use a gun to assemble it, it went critical so quickly that what would happen is, well, here, let me show you. Little Boy, I can't believe I'm digressing into nuclear warhead design, but if you look at Little Boy here, not a little boy, bomb, there we go. Little Boy took a naval gun and converted it, and I forget which end. I suspect on this end was the gun, and a chunk of uranium on this end was a U-shaped receiver, also made of uranium, both uranium-235, and the gun fired, shot the thing down here, put the two together, they went supercritical, and bang, they exploded with a fission reaction. As a matter of fact, well, here's the diagram for it. So yes, here's the receiver, here's the other slug, there's the charge. Anyway, the problem being, if you plutonium fissions so fast that if you took this same bomb here, or the same design here, and you made it out of plutonium, the chunk of plutonium would be here, the gun would fire, and about halfway down it would start to fission. It would fission so quickly that the reaction would start and the thing would blow itself apart before it fully assembled. And if it blew itself apart before it fully assembled, instead of having umpteen zillion fission reactions and therefore that much more energy released, instead you'd have like 1/100th of umpteen zillion fission reactions, because the reaction would start somewhere before it fully put itself together and it would blow itself apart. So therefore, long way of saying, if you go back to Fat Man here, if you go back to the Fat Man design, you had to design a plutonium bomb to be made with the whole chunk of plutonium pretty much close together and just slightly subcritical. And what they did was they surrounded it with a sphere of high explosives designed so that it would basically squeeze the thing together. Here, let's just look up an implosion design. basically, I'm not telling anybody anything that isn't widely known, so we're not giving away nuclear secrets here, but basically there was a chunk of plutonium here surrounded by a whole bunch of fast and slow burning explosives so that they would make a perfectly symmetrical wavefront that would squeeze the plutonium together and not let it blow itself apart before the fission reaction could really get going. So fast explosive, slow explosive, sphere, 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 uniform squeezing, so this sort of grapefruit-sized chunk of plutonium got squeezed down to about the size of a golf ball, and that made everything closer together, and that meant that all the fission could happen, and it could pretty much fully use all the fuel it could and thereby make the mushroom cloud that you see on Richland High School's helmet. So again, we're pretty much going to be flying over the place where the football team had or has or maybe had. Maybe they've gotten rid of it. I hope they've gotten rid of it. I'm glad that World War II ended before millions more casualties, but nonetheless, this seems a bit much. And here we go. Richland bomber boosters, proud, as they say, of the cloud. Of course, they didn't get the airplane right. This is a B-17, and a B-17 did not drop Fat Man, as a matter of fact. Here we go. Hang on. Might as well get the right B-29, the right aircraft. This is a B-17. It did not drop any atomic bombs. This is the B-17 known as Boxcar, and it did drop the second atomic bomb, the one made from plutonium made in Hanford, Washington. But, as they say, I digress. Instead, we're going to fly an entirely peaceful mission. We are not going to fly over Hiroshima or Nagasaki. We are only going to fly over Hanford, Washington, or close enough. And the only cargo we're carrying is tourists and a cargo, I think, of novelty items, including whoopee cushions and plastic doggy duty. So, we've set our V-speeds, although I really should set our cruise altitude here so that it can correctly calculate our altitudes, which it has not done, and it's got our flight levels wrong. Hold on. Transition altitude should be 18,000. And cruise weight is, or should be, let's get this right here. Ground services 1075 and 20% for the CG, so 1075. The reason why it's like this is because no, zero fuel weight should be this 107.5. Put it in the wrong place there and execute that. What happened was X-plane crashed, so had to restart it, and some things don't save on the IXEG. You can't save a panel state, and you can't save this state entirely, so get that loaded in there, and now get the rest of this done. Climb on climb 1, redo our V-speeds, and of course they're screwed up, so we'll just reset them now. I also tried to disable the camera movement, but it doesn't seem to want to disable. So 138 and 140. And 140. We'll clean up at 200. And I'm going to try one more time here to disable. Now see, the camera shaking is disabled and the head shake is disabled too, but for some reason it's lingering there like a bad penny. So there we go. C of G is correct. 3.6 is correct. Let's get that set up right. Let's see. 1, 2. That's about in the right place. We'll take off with flaps 5. And just make sure everything is cool. Actually, our APU is on. We should be taking power from the APU at the moment. And we should turn ground power off. And it is disconnected, even though I see the cart there. I'm not sure why. But we'll push back with our nose to the left. And hell, we'll get going. But before we do that, let's get our weather. Make sure the winds are still where we think they are. 260 at 10, that's fine. Altimeter 3002, which is what we had set before everything blew up. We'll turn this on legs, keep this on takeoff reference, just so that we know what we're all about here. Our position light should be on, and our anti-collision light can come on now because we're going to start. Our altitude actually should be at 310. Some of these things got reset when I crashed. And our landing altitude is actually going to be 1,620. We are up in the mountains, and it is going to be fun. Alright, 1,620 set. Our passenger signs actually should be on by this point. Turn on our window heat. Pitot and static heat. Check our cabin temperature. It is good. We've got dual bleed here because we have our engine bleeds and our APU bleeds on. That's fine. We'll turn off our APU bleeds momentarily. We've got plenty of starting pressure. We actually can have one of our packs on. We might as well. And we'll set our auto brake to RTO. And at the moment, we can open our window because we're not pressurized yet. And mainly just because I want to enjoy the wonderful sound. But you know what? To enjoy the wonderful sound, since we're going to start up number 2 first, let's shut that door, and now you can enjoy the stereo sound here. Alright, so we'll call for our push. Push back, nose left. And we'll turn our ignitions on right. Release our brakes. And the jetway will pull away. And there it goes, and there we go. And we'll start up number 2. And you'll notice our pressure drops. And we'll look for about 20% in 2. And 1 is rising as well. Maybe it's 25, but yeah, it's 25. And on comes engine number 2. Let's see how it does in pushing us back. Let's see if it knows where the taxiways are. And we'll just wait for starter cutout. Nah, it really doesn't know. Alright, we'll start number 1. And we'll stop our push right there. Ah, magnificent. That is really lovely sound. Alright, there's 25, and in comes the fuel. Check to make sure we don't have a hot start. Temperature is rising smoothly, and it will actually dip down to below 300 in 1 second. Alright, we're good to go there. Flight director's on with captain's priority. Let's check our controls here. Set our heading to 283, that's runway heading. Good, check our controls. Alright, very nice. Altitude is set. Our airport elevation looks normal. Fuel is set. Trim is set. Check our rudder trim here. Get it neutral right about there. Turn our transponder, well, actually turn it on right now on Charlie. And at the moment, turn our TCAS to TA only so we don't get alerts as we're taxiing. You know what? Some carriers arm the auto throttle now, others don't. Set 5 degrees of flaps. And we'll head out of town. Going to tweak the sound a little bit there. Still working to adjust it. Not sure I've got it right yet. The other thing we'll do is just take a look at this really good looking airport here. And enjoy the sounds in this magnificent beast of an aircraft. Still tinkering with my views too. Alright, and now, before I do something stupid, I'll check the brakes, and actually I will need to see where we are. Alright, a right turn and another right turn. I know I should have the airport diagram on my lap, but I don't. And I don't have a cooperative first officer today. I've got an uncooperative first officer. And also, I need to reset my decision height again. That should not have been like that. Another thing to reset. As we make our way down to runway 2 right, 28 right. One day I'll be able to speak English properly, I promise you. I just hope I do it before Donald Trump deports me. And just check my trim. Okay, that works fine. Check our V2 is 148, which we have bugged right there. And I mean, this is really a nicely modeled airport. I love the textured grass and the ortho and all the rest. There's nothing worse than grass at airports that looks like lime green finger paints. And anyway, while we taxi, I'm going to light up a cigar here. Pardon me, it's going to be a Camacho Honduran Puro. Just swerved to avoid a billy goat there. Sorry about that. I know the no smoking sign is on, but this is the privileges of Flight Simulator, or flight simulation. This, of course, is X-Plane. It is, by the way, beta 7 of 10.5. And other than autogen skyscrapers and tall buildings being the wrong place, or simply being where no skyscrapers should be, it's lovely. Speaking of lovely, I just dropped burning ash into my lap, but we're dealing with it. This is a torpedo shape in the exact same dimensions as the Cuban Monte Cristo number 2, and actually pretty similar in flavor now that I think about it. Big full flavored cigar, very nice. Okay, that's the FBO there. We're taxiing at a healthy 20 knots. Not quite Southwest territory, but close. And we should probably at this point switch our pressurization to flight. And in a second, when I stop, so I don't run off the taxiway here, well, it's fine. Turn our APU bleeds off. Turn both packs on. Should actually turn my buses on. That would be important. Kind of want electricity, don't I? And turn the APU off. Turn our igniters to continuous. There we go. Little things, stupid little things that can ruin your day. We'll also check our windsock here. We're going to do an intersection departure. It is fine. We don't need anything more than that. And we'll quickly set our parking brake. Turn our TCAS to Tara. Make sure we are squawking, and we are squawking right. Make sure our trim is set, and it is. Turn on our inboard lights, APU's off, igniters on continuous, logo, strobe, wheel well, all can be on, taxi light should be off, electrics should be set to Gen 1. I'll tell you what, this is really, that would have been a problem. Alright, pressurization on flight. We can take off with the bleeds on, that is fine, and can arm our auto throttle, and we should be good to go. Nobody coming. Nobody going. Wow, this is kind of a good smoke. Okay. I'm going to enjoy this flight. Not just because I've got all of you along for the ride, but because this is a good smoke. Alright, I see 28 right on the paint. I see our runway heading more or less on our heading bug. I see all of our speeds set. We're going to have an initial altitude of our final altitude. We don't really have any restrictions to deal with, notably, and we're not dealing with ATC. Flaps are set, radios are set, lights are set, electrics and pumps and bleeds are set. Alright, up come the power levers. On comes toga power. Slight forward pressure on the yoke. Takeoff power set. And we got 80. And V1. And rotate. And gear up. We're flying heading right now. We'll get into LNAV mode early. In a second we'll have climb power, about another 1,000 feet. Go to LNAV mode and we'll start our turn. Okay, there's our climb power. We'll nose down. Clean up. Okay, we're clean. All right, we're in level change mode. And LNAV. Bring our speed up to 240. Take a look at where we came from. Pop into VNAV mode. In a second, we'll check our pressurization. But first things first, of course, a fake pilot has to relight his cigar. This is going to be a reasonably short flight, on the order of, about 40 more minutes here. And we're going to start going down in pretty short order after we hit our top of climb. But do the flight simulator thing and get our lights off. And I might as well turn off the no smoking sign. I mean, after all, I'm smoking. Check our pressurization, which is important, and it is fine. Cabin climbing, differential within limits. Cabin altitude less than 1,000 feet, that's all good. And that is the Columbia River there. And I was scolded about this before. That is Mount St. Helens. You can tell because the top of it is blown off. It used to look like that. Used to look just like Mount Fuji, and then there was the big volcano. It killed a man named Harry Truman, not the former president, but an old guy named Harry R. Truman, not Harry S. Truman, who refused to leave and is presumed killed in the suffocated under volcanic ash, I think it was. Lived and died on the mountain. Anyway, let's just see what our frames look like. I don't think they're great, but... No, they're not good. You know what I'm going to do, if you'll just... let me beg your indulgence for a minute here. Let me turn down the clouds on SkyMax. Just turn down the rendering distance is what I'm doing. And you'll watch the frame rates come up. Alright, that's much better. It's still not great, but it's better. Now, well, still not perfect. There are these little problems right now with X-Plane. See if I can speed it up even more here. All right, that's better. Clouds render a little bit softer, but they are a lower resolution. Whatevs, as the kids say. As you know, I'm running 4K. This is a 5820 processor clocked at about 4.4, 4.5, depending. And an NVIDIA 980 Ti. Or as Frugal would say, Tango India. Possibly I'm going to end up getting a 1080. See if that'll help with things like cloud rendering. I hope it does. Because it seems to me that this soft cloud is just a little too soft. But, just get rid of that. It's annoying. There we go. Anyway, let's see where our top of climb is in relation to our top of descent, because I'd imagine they'll come pretty quickly together. Alright, there's our top of climb, there's our top of descent, so yeah. We're pretty much going to go up and come down. Yeah, those clouds are a little too soft. And I mean, honestly, nothing beats active sky when it comes to clouds, I'm sorry to say, because I like this airliner better than any other airliner on Earth, even with all of its little flaws and things, which they're working to fix. It's just magnificent to fly. Why, I can even almost do a military overhead brake arrival. Almost, sort of, kind of. Well, our temps are right in icing territory. However, we're not in any clouds, so I'm not going to turn on our ice protection at the moment. Wow, this is a very, very full-flavored cigar. Oh look, I just got an email saying Coronado's out with another really good looking airplane that doesn't perform properly. Let's see, which one is it now? The Piper Aztec for X-plane. Well, that's too bad, because that's an interesting airplane. It's a nice airplane. I flew in one like an air charter thing out west between Santa Barbara and Monterey. Long time ago. Nice plane to fly in. I got to sit in the, well, I guess what would be the first officer's position in the right seat because of weight and balance. I'm not especially fat, but I guess it worked out okay, so I'm not even fat at all. I don't know, fat, obese, whatever you want to say. Gravitationally enhanced. Quantum mechanically unperturbed. Anyway, for whatever reason, I got to sit up front on this thing because it was a single pilot affair. And it was sort of the equivalent, I suppose, the real-life equivalent of an FS economy flight. And it was fun. The pilot was working the heading bug and a couple of navigational frequency changes and course changes, and we were flying slant alpha back in the day. I think the airplane had an old-fashioned, and it's funny I should call it old-fashioned, but an old-fashioned King RNAV unit. This was before GPS, so the big planes had inertial navigation. The smaller planes, if they were fancy, had RNAV, using a variety of radio beacons to do fixes. But GPS really hadn't come into, at least not into civilian use yet. Alright, so we're coming up over Puget Sound, over Seattle here. And from there it is distressingly close to British Columbia. Wow. And as a matter of fact, it looks like we're over McChord Air Force Base right now. And the Tacoma Narrows, I believe, are right here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, we're in overcast. Well, so much for that. I was going to say we get a good look at downtown Seattle, but we're not going to get it. So and we're nearing our top of climb. Scale down a little here. Yeah, about 25, 30 miles from our top of climb. I guess we went through that layer, and now here is Seattle. Very beautiful. Yeah, there's Vashon Island, and there's Tacoma Narrows Airport. Sadly, and that is McChord. Sadly, we don't have a beautiful rendering of the Tacoma Narrows bridges. But there is the airport, indeed. And Boeing Field should be right about under there. And SeaTac should be close by, too. Boy, it's hard to complain about things in the world when you can, even in a fake airplane, enjoy this kind of scenery. In a real airplane, I've never flown over this, but There are several companies that do seaplane flights in de Havilland Beavers, and boy, that would be magnificent. Some of them fly all the way up to Victoria in British Columbia, which is a pretty lengthy flight from Seattle. At least it is in an airplane that goes, that maxes out at about 160 knots. But that's just downright pretty. There are the Tacoma Narrows bridges, but they're not really fully rendered. The original Tacoma Narrows Bridge, as we start to level out here, is the one that in the late 40s was very slim, very long, and it shook itself to pieces. Let me show you. The pictures are just unbelievably terrifying. The bridge had a resonant mode, sort of like a plucked string on an instrument, that even though it could have sustained winds much higher, at these low winds, they were just right to excite it. And what happened was, well, here's the famous picture of the guy running from, he left his car and the bridge started going up and down. The bridge, even before it collapsed, was known as Galloping Gertie, and was a bit of a tourist attraction because it would undulate up and down. And so people would drive on it just for like a thrill ride. So anyway, they rebuilt the bridge. Now, as you can see, getting into bridge construction, they used a plate girder right here, and that wasn't rigid enough. And the other problem with it was aerodynamically, it set up a flutter vibration, sort of like an airfoil at certain speeds. And so it wobbled up and down, and it oscillated up and down, and it twisted. And of course, that was no damn good. So eventually they replaced it with, as you can see, the bridges here, they replaced it with our A wider. This is the original replacement here. And you see this deep, let's try that again here. You see this deep, this is a stiffening truss here. And so they really over-engineered it so that it wouldn't be all fluttery. In addition, eventually, because it was such a busy crossing, they built a second one right next to it, as you can see. Only they did it with even beefier pieces here. So there are now two of those bridges, and the airport is off over here. So anyway, we're making our turn over Seattle. We are at our cruising altitude. We have acquired altitude. I sure hope we have. Square up our heading bug here. And we'll actually get ready for our descent. We're going to have the world's shortest cruise here. Our descent is in about half an hour. So here we are over Seattle right now. See if we can find SeaTac here. It's hidden underneath the clouds, but SeaTac is right there, Boeing Field is right there, and the city is just beyond it. Matter of fact, here, let's do this. Let's display our airports here, and you can see that we're right over Renton, which is where they actually finish assembly on 737s, I think. And here's Payne Field up here. And behind us, well, we're right over SeaTac right now. Let's see if we can see it. No such luck. However, we are sitting pretty here. And you know what I didn't do? We're now going to be low. I did not set standard altimeter at 180. So we're off by 140 feet. That's no good. We've got plenty of fuel. Let's see if our progress page works. Yeah, it works. Let's go on our cruise page. And let's speed up. Why the hell not? See if we can do 0.76. Let's hustle up here. Check our weather in Castlegar. So we're going to be flying there and then to Tykes. This should be fun. We've got peaks, peaks, peaks. Terrain, terrain, and more terrain. When your MSA is in the 5 digits, you know you're going someplace exciting. There is no circling over to this side. We're going to circle over to this side. This could be an RNAV approach, and it is by definition a circling approach. And our MDA is going to be 4,500, which is 2,900 above the terrain. There's our airport elevation. And we're going to aim to be seeing the ground at least by here. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. Oops. Alright, so 3007. Let's see. Wind at 030. Oh, this is going to be fun. At 7, gusting to 19. Broken at 7,800. Thunderstorms. Broken 11,000. Oh, this is going to be really not any good. Remarks. Thunderstorms. Okay. All right, well. We'll tune up Castlegar NDB because we're going to need it at 227. And we will, just for guidance, also tune in our localizer for 15, just to double, triple check ourselves. Actually, we'll set up Brilliant in 269. That'll be better. And our localizer is 178 and 110.1. Oh boy. All right, well. And 178 is not the runway heading. It is the deviated, because this is an LDA approach to this beacon. Should be fun. As you can see, those are mountains. Okay, there's a Mito, which is pretty much where we're going to, in essence, turn very, 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 very extended base. Our speeds are still safe. We've got about 15 minutes till our TOD, 15-20 minutes. There is the remnants of, well, actually off this way, I don't know if we can see it. I believe that's the Fraser River, and I believe Vancouver is right about there, but I've been known to be wrong about geography. Let's see if we can see YVR here on our display. Zoom out a little bit here. It's amazing how many airports there are around here, to tell you the truth, given the terrain. Can't see it. But probably because it's right around here. Let's just see. We're now inbound, what, to Foldy? Let's see. Inbound to Diablo. Diablo is here. How far away are we? 29 miles. So Vancouver, yeah, should be right about there. There is Vancouver, so it should be, yeah, about at our 10 o'clock-ish. Yeah, right about in there. And look at the clouds filling the mountain valleys. That's kind of beautiful. Frames are good, actually. See how smooth the panning is? That is good. Damn it, I want to be able to render clouds farther out, though. But nothing in computerized flight simulation is perfect. Mainly, I don't think there will ever be hardware that ever matches whatever the software is at the moment. But this is the CP Air 737 really in its natural habitat, as you can see right here. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is pretty nice. Look at that. I believe that's Mount Gordon McDonald, or maybe Donald McGordon, or Patrick Fitzthomas or some other Western Canadian name. Angus McGordon, McTavish, or a Hughes somebody. A lot of Scots-Irish in this part of the world. There's another Canadian name, Hugh Billingsworth. There we go. That'll be good. Or Peter Jennings, or even Jennings Peters. I miss Peter Jennings. We could use a Peter Jennings in this day and age. Of course, in Canada, you guys still, I think, have Peter Mansbridge of the National, which I grew up on. Grew up looking to that newscast as sort of like the gold standard of how to do a newscast properly. I don't know if it's still as solid as it once was. I hope it is. But I come from the land of cable news now, so and sometimes it feels like the land down under. Right, I'm going to have one more puff on this cigar. It's an unbelievably strong cigar, so I don't think I'm going to finish the whole thing. Otherwise, I'll be reaching for the paper bag. Thankfully, I am a lightweight, which means I don't smoke a cigar more than a couple times a month. That's also, to record this, I have my air conditioner off because it's so damn noisy. It was billed as one of the quietest air conditioners around, which I think the technical term for that is bullshit. But that aside, here I am today bitching about air conditioners, making fun of Frugal again, mocking Canadian names while I'm flying a Canadian airplane. I mean, this is just, it's kind of bad, but, you know, sometimes you got to blow off steam, and it's either that or get into a punch-up at the local shebeen. Nobody wants that. Besides, I ran into an ex-girlfriend today, and that was probably enough drama for me. Alright, I wonder if that's thunder I actually hear. Or just my sound system failing. The winds aloft are not terrible, but we're sort of coming across them. And let's find out where... Oh, you know what? That is thunder. Wow. Alright, we're coming up on our TOD. Let's see where it's safe to descend to. I hope that's thunder. I wonder what that is. Or it's my simulator crashing. I don't know. One or the other. Oh, we're getting hammered here, so let's just tell people not to smoke and sit the hell down. And we can descend to 8,200. And ultimately we're coming down to 4,500. We'll set 8200 for the moment. Maybe we're in a thunderstorm, but the thing isn't getting rendered for some reason. Either that or the flight gods are angry at us. What I will do is slow down to a slightly better turbulence penetration speed, which I really should research, but I haven't, so I'm just going to wing it for the moment. See if it rolls us back on the power here. It should. There we go. All right, 40 miles to go. So about 8 minutes. Get our V-speeds ready. Alright, this is going to be a little bit fast for our runway too, but I don't really want to land at flaps 40. I want to have some climb performance. And you know what? We're a little slow, so let's speed up a bit. I don't want to drop out of the sky by accident. Alright, power is up, so we'll just speed up a little bit here. Wow. We are getting bounced. I think I'm going to set engine anti-ice for the descent because we're going to be cold and we're going to be coming through some moisture, so we'll do that. Man, the sounds on this are good. Get those control surfaces working there. We're sort of right at the wrong place to be with respect to this layer of clouds. That's probably why we're getting knocked around. Alright, so landing at 142. And there's a gust, so we'll add a little bit of speed to that. Making our VREF, our VAP. And we're going to be circling at around 150. And improbably we're receiving our localizer via a VOR, which doesn't seem right, but One never knows, do one? Wow. Well, knock wood, but it's doing a very nice job of not killing us. Boy, look at it go. Look at that. And I believe the coffee in the cup here is doing a little dance. And indeed it is. All right, 4 miles to our TOD. Want to be at 8,200 by Tykes. All right, here comes our TOD. And down we go. All right, we've got 40, 56, 62 miles to go down. 19. That's doable. It's probably going to ask for a little drag at some point. And with any luck, things will smooth out a bit. I'm glad I'm not hand flying at the moment. You know what? I might have to get that 1080 card. I'm gonna have to sell some blood or something. And our airfield elevation is set. Auto brakes are set. Our approach is briefed, so our descent checklist is complete. Seem to be missing a page, but all right. Put her away there. Okay, Sensa is 6 away, and we want to be 213. No idea why it's that precise. Probably because it's a round number over a certain obstacle. Alright, we're not picking up our VOR or our ADF, and just turn that nav2 off because I think it's just coincidentally picking up a station. $21.8. Alright, we're going to be perfect. Alright, well that's good. Our frame rates suck. Apologies. They shouldn't suck quite this bad, but they do. Our local weather is going to be, see if it's deteriorated, 2992. No, it's improved, except for the wind, which is, well, now the wind is at 170. We may have to circle around and land on 15, or we want to hope to be visual by here instead of here, and instead of circling around this way, we will follow the river valley in this way and then make a quick left turn to final. I think that's what we may do. All right, has Melania Trump spoken at the convention yet? Let's find out. My husband, he is strong like bull, smart like tree. Oh yeah, there she is, and he introduced her. Look at this. Headline in the New York Times, day starts with rancor, ends in spectacle. As the governor of Ohio, who's hosting the convention, did not appear at it. All right, 299. Oh, well, you know, funny thing is, our local altimeter is 2992. All right, these clouds are really bad. Hang on. Free up a little memory here. All right, that's better. My video card was swapping, and we know how painful that can be. All right, I'm going to get the lights on early because we're high altitude, Just get all set up quickly. Pressure is fine. Let's see if we need ice protection right now. No, we don't anymore. All right. All right, there's Anger is here, Tykes is here. And it's up to its old tricks of jamming the throttles forward 0.9 miles before a slowdown. And as you can see, we are not unbelievably far above the terrain here. Which would be terrifying in real life, but it's kind of fun here. I mean, let's face it, this is fun flying. Even this approach, even if we do the simple version of the approach, which is into runway 15, it's going to be fun. All right, we're coming up on Tykes, and we should be slowing down very, very soon. We need to be at 220 by Tykes. It is definitely going to ask for drag. Of that, I'm almost certain. Wow, look at that. Just, I mean, look at that. This is Ultra HD Mesh, which is another reason why we're probably going a little bit slow here. And I believe that is the field right there. So we're going to thread our way down this river valley, and there is the field indeed. Okay. Basically, it is going to send us around this mountain, down this river valley. And then we're going to make a left turn to very short final. And it wants drag. How do you like that? We'll give it some drag. And drag it has got. Matter of fact, we'll give it slats. We'll intervene on the speed. No, we won't intervene on the speed because yeah, why not? Vertical speed, slow our asses down up to 200. Slow our descent ever so slightly. Ha! Look at this. And since we're visual, we're actually going to descend quicker here. And so let's get our speed way down. Come on. Yeah, we're overspeeding a little bit here, but so what? Come on, come on, come on. Alright, and we are going to go gear down here because we're going to have to come down toot sweet. And yes, there is a thunderstorm right there over the field. Look at that. Bring our speed to 150. No, not to 130, to 150. And there's the field. We're not going to make it down in time. So what we'll do is we'll circle. Get rid of the flight director. I mean, we could theoretically drop down in time, but it's kind of silly to do that. Get rid of those pesky altitude alerts. Well, you know what? Do you want to try it? Shall we try it? We got our boards out. Now, do a little slip too. Come on, let's try it. Get a slip go wing. No, we don't. No, because then we're going to have to slow down as well. Well, can we? Let's find out. Let's do a little tactical flying here. I don't think it's going to work. I got a hard slip going now. Ooh, boy. I'm hard over on the rudder. Nah, we're going too fast.
2500.
Yeah, let's see. No, not going to happen. It's rolling up our flaps here. All right. Bring that slip out gently. And we'll circle. There's our runway. You could do that in a dash. You can't really. We'll circle out this way. Arm our speed brakes. Bring in a little power. And let's see, how are we going to do this? I guess we're going to go out to that mouth of the river there. We'll level out right here. There we go. All right, and we'll make our turn where the river gets wide. A little gusty. It's very scenic here. Just come up a little bit. There we go. Ooh, do we have enough room to make that turn? Yes. Maybe. Oh, this could get ugly real quick, folks. Alright, basically I'm going to come up a little bit, hug the mountain, and then I'm going to come back down again. Get a little more performance here. Oh, I don't know. Now, we're going to not stall because we're going to be going down again. Haha, we hope.
Banking.
Yeah, I know.
Banking.
There we go.
Banking. Sink rate. Banking. Sink rate. Sink rate. Banking. Banking.
I do believe we made it.
Banking.
Alright.
Banking.
Round we come. Back in with the power. Just a little touch. There we are. And we're fully configured, oddly enough. Speed brakes armed. Gear down. 3 greens. 1,200 feet above the airfield. I believe I can see it. I can. Luckily, this is going to be like landing on an aircraft carrier. We're going to have about a 15-knot headwind. Maybe. I hope. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We couldn't have turned any place else, could we? Alright, where's our field? Let's see. Okay, there's our field. Is that our field? Yes, that is our field. Alright. Only thing better would be if we could see it. Alright, slightly high. Soon to be slightly low.
500. 400. 300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
All right, and welcome to Castlegar. And I'm not sure I want to see that again, but let's see that again. Alright, here we go. This airplane was not meant to do this arrival. As you can see, we're cutting it pretty close. And we'll balloon a little bit. You'll see in a minute. There's our balloon. Oh, a little too high. And overcorrected. Here we come. Hey, not too shabby. All right. And never mind the brakes. Let's try one more time. From a less advantageous position. Look out, Loretta. Oh boy. Okay, so we balloon right there. Now we're going to correct. Right there. More with the rudder than with the ailerons. Hey, right on the center line too. With the lightning coming right down on us. And hey, plenty of room to spare. Look at that. We got like 15 whole feet right there. Okay, well, only thing left is to turn all the way around here and head back to the gate. But here, look at the windsock moving around like that and gusting. We're just going to let our brakes cool right here for a moment and let the guy mow the lawn. And lament the fact that really it doesn't render weather very well because we've got a solitary thunderstorm right over yonder that looks more like, well, dare I say it, a mushroom cloud. But anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and see you real soon. Bye-bye.